Our next embarrassing below-the-belt dilemma can pop up at the most surprising and often inopportune times.
Every guy has a poorly timed erection.
Comes up at the most inappropriate times.
Happens to every guy.
It could happen on a first date.
Supermarkets?
It could happen on the 5th date.
Even just like a tiny little breeze.
The thought of a yoga class.
Final exam presentation. I hid behind that podium so fast, but then I gave one hell of a speech.
Hiking.
It has a mind of its own.
I had a date with this girl, and after a drink or two, I realized that I had an erection, and I also had to go to the bathroom. So I pretty much acted as if I had a stomach ache, and I walked like a hunchback to the bathroom.
So I'm going on a first date with this girl, and her parents are there when I go to pick her up. My crotch is facing the mom. I think I know why I didn't get a second date. When you have an inappropriate erection,
There's like several different techniques.
the waddle,
The tuck and walk.
you can't hardly even tell that you have one at that point. You can just walk like a normal person. Like,
And I call this move the diver.
it's pretty much foolproof.
Humiliating.
Inappropriate.
You know, it's frustrating, but I'm glad it's still happening.
So I hesitate to even go here, but it is TMI Tuesday. Did you have a YOE, a year of the erection, when you were growing up? Was there like a year where it was just, you know, you're sitting there in science class, and there's an experiment going on down there, and you're just like, why? Why? Right in the middle of class every time.
Isn't it just with arousal though?
No,
That's part of
not
it.
when you're
It's
going
just
through
got a mind.
puberty.
Puberty, it just sort of happens.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
whenever wind blows. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There you
well,
go.
And now Travis with the
Just-
blue pill, that goes on for life.
Why do you think Joe is always smiling?
Well, it's actually.
And why do you think he's never wearing scrubs?
Well, it's a healthy thing though, right? Because they start with puberty, but then there's unhealthy reasons for it, right?
Well, it's totally healthy and normal. And in fact, most of the patients I see wish they had unwanted erections.
I was going to say it's not a bad thing.
Well, you know, erections start in infancy. You'll see, you know, little babies, and it's usually when they have to urinate. And then the other kind of erections start to come on during puberty, and when the hormones kick in and that testosterone surges, then you start to get lots of erections, like the kind when you're called to the chalkboard. And you may have a year or a few where you have lots of erections, and eventually peters out, so to speak.
Now, what of all of those options for hiding one, and you're a urologist, you know, you can do damage down there if you're too aggressive with hiding an erection. You know, you can hurt your
Yes,
guy down there.
I've seen patients who were overly concerned about it and injured themselves in an attempt to make it go down, and then had long-term problems later.
So you just kind of.
Well, the thing is, an erection can only happen if that unconscious or autonomic part of your nervous system is relaxed. So, if you can trigger an adrenaline release, you'll kill the erection or you'll prevent it from happening. Adrenaline can be released when you're ready to run or fight. You don't need an erection when you're running or fighting.
So turn on the basketball game and...
Right, if your team's losing.
You know, start worrying about paying for your taxes or think of your mother-in-law.
Yeah, anything that provokes anxiety. Right, anxiety releases adrenaline, and that's the psychogenic cause of erectile dysfunction. Men who have erection problems that are too young to have a physical problem, it's an anxiety, it's an adrenaline release. But if you can create an adrenaline release, there's an interesting study that shows if you make a face that mimics anger or fear, physiologically you'll start to release adrenaline. But you don't really want to be the angry guy with the erection. So, you know, that might not be...
And of course, you know, this is one of those TMI days, but the other thing we do have to mention is an erection that lasts for hours on end. That's called priapism. That is a true medical emergency. You know, don't worry about hiding it. Get yourself to the emergency department, because if it goes unabated, it can cause some real long-term damage. This has been, I'm not sure if the word is fun, enlightening, embarrassing, a little bit of all the above.
Exactly, yeah.